Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to see about the origin, insertion, nerve supply and blood supply of the triceps brachii muscle. First of all, let us see about the origin of triceps brachii muscle. It arises by three heads: the long head, the lateral head and the medial head. Let us take a look on the origin of long head of triceps brachii first. It arises from the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. This is the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. So, the long head arises from the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. Coming to the origin of the lateral head of the triceps brachii muscle. So, the lateral head arises from the posterior surface of the humerus, and that too from the upper part, and of course from an oblique ridge on the upper part of the humerus. The lateral head of triceps brachii arises from an oblique ridge on the upper part of the humerus, and that too on the posterior surface, and it corresponds to the lateral lip of the radial groove. So I am marking the radial groove. You can see this portion is the radial groove. So the oblique ridge corresponds to the lateral lip of the radial groove. So in such manner, the lateral head of the triceps brachii gets raised from an oblique ridge on the posterior surface of the humerus. Now coming to the origin of the medial head of triceps brachii. The medial head of the triceps brachii muscle also arises on the posterior surface of the humerus. You can see this is the medial head of the triceps brachii muscle. It arises below the radial groove on the posterior surface of the humerus, and also from the medial and lateral intermuscular septa. I'll show that. This is the posterior surface of the humerus. So you can see the radial groove. So below that, the medial head of the triceps brachii originates. From both the medial and lateral intermuscular septum, and also the area below the radial groove, and that too the area is somewhat triangular in shape. So the medial head of triceps brachii arises from the posterior surface of the humerus, below the radial groove, and also from both intermuscular septum, that is the medial and lateral intermuscular septum. Now coming to the insertion of triceps brachii muscle, you can see both the long head and lateral head, they converge to form a superficial flattened tendon which gets inserted into the Olecranon process. You can see here, this is the Olecranon process of the ulna. So it gets inserted, the tendon which is formed by the fusion of both the lateral head and long head of triceps brachii, it gets inserted into the superior surface of the Olecranon process. So now coming to the insertion of the medial head of the triceps brachii muscle, you can see this is the medial head of the triceps brachii muscle. So it gets partly inserted into the Olecranon process, that is on the posterior part of the superior surface of the Olecranon process, and partly into the superficial tendon that is formed by both the lateral and long head of the triceps brachii muscle. Next, coming to the nerve supply of the triceps brachii muscle. So in order to know the nerve supply, I am just removing the triceps brachii muscle. You can see the course of radial nerve. So all the three heads of the triceps brachii are supplied by the radial nerve, but by different branches of the radial nerve. You can see here, this is the radial nerve. So the branch arises in the axilla as well as in the radial groove. Here you can see the course of the radial nerve. It branches in order to supply the three heads of the triceps brachii muscle. So you can see this is one of the branches of the radial nerve. And of course, you may all know that the radial nerve arises from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus, and its root value is C7, C8. Coming to the actions of a triceps brachii muscle, so it is a powerful extensor of elbow joint, and also the long head has another important function. It is an extensor as well as an adductor of the shoulder joint. Again, I am repeating, the long head is an extensor and as well as an adductor of arm at the shoulder joint. Hope this video was useful. Check out the description box for more videos on the upper limb. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe and stay in touch.